Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Secret Place podcast. We have upgraded today. We have an actual microphone back because I was able to figure out a way to have the setup be minimal. So, praise God. So, if Spotify sounds different, that's why. YouTube obviously looks different. Yeah. Today we are going to dive into Proverbs 1:7. In Proverbs 1:7, it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction." So I want to start off with that verse because it's actually interesting. When I looked up the actual word fear of the Lord there, the word fear in this context is reverence and knowledge. So the reverence and knowledge of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, or of true knowledge, right? So that's kind of what that means. And I thought that was really powerful because we can look at the world and we can see a lot of wise strategies or wise ways of living. But even that wisdom, if it's removed and apart from the Lord, there's still something missing. And so fools despise wisdom and instruction. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to be a fool. I hate being fooled, actually. And I don't want to despise instruction. I don't want to step out in my own wisdom or strength or knowledge apart from the Lord, because fear and the knowledge of the Lord, just that he is there, and our awareness of him is the starting point to true wisdom and knowledge in all things, right? So I want to also jump up to Proverbs 1:1, so the beginning of this verse. So starting in verse 2, "To know wisdom and instruction, to discern the sayings of understanding, to receive instruction in wise behavior, righteousness, justice, and integrity, to give prudence to the naive, to the youth knowledge and discretion. A wise person will hear and increase in learning, and a person of understanding will acquire wise counsel. To understand a proverb and a saying, the words of the wise and their riddles. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction." We have a couple things that we can go into with this verse, but I want to stick to the topic of don't be a fool. Don't be someone that despises wisdom. And when I say despise wisdom, it's not that you hate it, but it's that you are not open to it, that you actually shy away from or push away true wisdom. I know that I would not be where I am today or think the way that I do about things and about life if I did not have wise people in my life. That most of them have been older than me, because there is something to say about people who are older than us being wise. That is not something to negate. Not to say that if people are younger than you that they can't have wisdom that maybe you don't have either. Not saying that, but in my experience, it has been necessary and vital to have people that I glean from that are wiser than me, that have already been in the areas that I am entering into or aspire to enter into. So I'm not going to seek advice or direction from someone who has nothing about their life that I would want in my life, or I want to replicate, or I would switch places with them. So that, I think, is just a practical outlook on this. But the Bible encourages us and tells us to seek wise counsel. And a wise person will hear and increase in learning. I want to increase my knowledge and learn so that I can be the most effective person that I could be, that God has created us to be. God didn't create us to be dumb and unwise, not smart, and not able to have an outlook on life that is not excellent. He wants all of our things that we do in life to be done in excellence unto him. So that includes learning. That includes the way that we approach things in life. To receive instruction in wise behavior, righteousness, justice, and integrity. We need to embody all of those things. Wisdom is embodied in all of those things. We want to live righteously. Justice. How should I go about a situation where injustice is happening in a wise way so that true justice can be brought forth, right? And you want to act in justice. You don't want to treat people unfairly. You don't want to treat people unwisely, and because that could lead to treating them unjustly. And with integrity, when you seek wisdom, a lot of times you are seeking something that naturally is paired with integrity, but there are still times where you could be seeking wisdom for just selfish gain, or seeking wisdom to one up somebody else. That's not integrity. That's not good character. And so we don't want to embody that. We want to embody righteousness, justice, and integrity. And the Holy Spirit will lead you into wisdom and truth, and there is power behind those leadings. But we also need to be smart and practical and seek people who are also within our environment and our circle that will encourage us with wisdom. Now, if you have a word from the Lord, there is a wise way to go about acting upon that word from the Lord. If I get a word from the Lord that I'm going to get $1 million to fund this campaign or this outreach or whatever it is, but I don't have the wisdom, if that's the word from the Lord and I believe it, I receive it, and I know that it's going to come to pass, if I don't have wisdom in how to manage or how to delegate or how to disperse resources in the most effective way, I'm not acting wisely with what the Lord wants to entrust to me. So that's what I mean when you can have a word from the Lord, and it is absolutely a word from the Lord, but you need to be able to receive it. You need to actually be, he's not going to give it to you before you're ready. And so we need to seek wise counsel and heed the advice and the experiences of those who have already treaded waters that we're in right now or seeking to go into. And truly having a softened heart to receive that, because sometimes we can come in guns blazing with whatever it is, fresh outlook, fresh experience, new everything. But then people will say, hey, this is great. I've been through this. Here's a blind spot that you have. Here's an area where I would advise this wisdom for this area so that you don't have to experience the things that could negatively come as a part of this idea or whatever it is. Sometimes people will push that away. They're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Or, yeah, but you're just old and you don't actually know anything anymore. And I think that that's really dumb to discount people who have already been through the waters. They've already been through it, to discount their experiences as just not relevant anymore. I think that can be very dumb sometimes. Now, at other times, if the Lord is truly instructing you with a specific instruction, stick to it, even if it does maybe go against the current grain of the wood, or if it maybe is a little bit countercultural to the environment that you're in. If it's truly an instruction from the Lord, he will guide you on how to execute it. But find people who have done that in the way that the Lord is instructing you to do that, and glean from them, receive wisdom from them, and so that you can have the best ensured outcome. in life. And this is not just in one isolated area. And that's kind of why I'm being like a little bit more general right now, because wisdom has to do with all areas of life. I need to be wise in how I am participating in my family and my marriage with my future kids. Like, I need to be wise in how I do my job, how I serve, how I show up in this community. I need to be wise in how I manage my money, how I budget, and how I also give. There's wisdom also within giving and being generous. It's not that you're withholding anything, but it's just how I'm going to give, I'm going to be generous, but how am I going to manage certain things and get things in line so that I can actually be the most effective and the most generous that I can be with my finances? That takes wisdom, that takes intentionality, and that takes integrity to do that too. Because integrity is not just what you outwardly show everyone, and it doesn't just stop with external things. Integrity starts with the internal. Integrity starts on the inside of you, and also for yourself. Do you have the integrity to show up for certain things for you, for your life? Not just to show everybody else, not to just to be beneficial to everybody else, but to things that actually pertain to you as well. Like, I have the integrity to show up for people that ask me to do things, and I have a willing heart, a grateful heart, and I will do it. But am I showing up for areas in myself and for me personally that I've asked myself to show up for? Hey, let's get back to the gym, but I just don't show up for myself. That's actually, I'm being disingenuous for me to myself, but then I expect that it's just enough to do it for everyone else. It goes both ways. I kind of got a little off on that, but like, I don't know why. That was kind of something that popped in my head, and I thought it was important because integrity it should start within our lives, and it should start, and everything else should flow out and just be a replication of what is already happening with us personally. And that could go down a whole nother rabbit hole that we're not going to do today. So we're going to come back to Proverbs. I want to pick up in verse 20. Wisdom warns. Wisdom is always waiting for us to like wake up and like realize that it's there and available. Wisdom shouts in the streets. She raises her voice in the public square. At the head of the noisy streets, she cries out. At the entrance of the gates in the city, she declares her sayings. How long, you naive ones, will you love simplistic thinking? How long will scoffers delight themselves in scoffing, and fools hate knowledge? Turn to my rebuke. Behold, and I will pour out my spirit on you, and I will make my words known to you. Because I've called you, and you refused. I stretched out my hand, and no one paid attention. And you neglect all of my advice, and do not want my rebuke. I will also laugh at your disaster. I will mock you when your dreads come. When your dreads come like a storm and your disaster comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then they will call on me, but I will not answer. They will seek me diligently, but will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose to fear the Lord. They did not accept my advice. They disdainfully reject every rebuke from me. So they shall eat the fruit of their own and be filled with their own schemes. For the faithfulness of the naive will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will live securely and will be at ease from the dread of evil. I don't know about you, but I want to live securely and be at ease without any fear of evil or dread of evil. That is the life that I want to live. And that's the life that we have a promise for. That is the life that we have a guarantee that we can have when we fear the Lord, when we follow wisdom, when we follow the Lord's wisdom, and we follow the wisdom of other Christians that are spirit-filled, that are actually Bible-believing Christians, and we can be assured, we have an assurance with that. And so I believe that it's very important to not push away wisdom. Don't push away pushback sometimes. everyone's going to reach a point in their life where they have an idea or they have this thing that they want to do and there's pushback. Don't ward that off necessarily. At least have the integrity and the just mindset to say, you know what, let me at least hear out what this pushback is. Because there might be some wisdom in it. There might be a pause that you need to take and say, hey, okay, I'm in this area of life and this is the advice that someone is giving me. Let me not just write it off right away. Sit with it. Actually listen and hear them out. And if there is something that you can take away from that will actually propel you faster and better equip you for what is coming or whatever that area is in your life, then that was a help. I believe that when we completely remove wisdom, it's just it's trash. You're gonna look back and say to yourself, why did I not listen? Why did I not invite anyone else into this space with me who had been through it, who knew what to do, who knew what not to do, had already made the mistakes, and I could have learned and not made these mistakes. But instead, I was so hard-headed about just pioneering it or just doing it on my own or just, so reluctant to help that you actually made it worse for yourself. And I have done this in different areas of my life, and that's why I'm like a proponent of, hey, the advice could go either way, but I want to hear you out. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your thoughts, because if there's something that can be helpful to me, even if I don't agree with everything, if there's something that I could get out of this conversation or this feedback, like I want to take that to heart. I do want to see if there's anything that could help me in acting in wisdom, because we oftentimes try to just do things on our own, or sometimes we isolate ourselves in that way. Like we isolate ourselves thinking, oh, well, I'm just the only one doing it, or I'm just the only one and sometimes that is absolutely true, yes. But have you sought out people to come alongside you or to counsel you wisely, that can speak into your life, that are led of the Spirit, and so they know how to hear from the Lord, and they can also help you decipher what maybe is your own thoughts and desires and what is actually from the Lord and what is actually wise. And so I just wanted to talk about this today. Well, not that I just thought of it. I was reading and it just sparked something in me yesterday to talk about on here. My prayer is that we all would be committed to getting wiser. I want you to commit as a listener, and I am committing as a speaker to committing to getting wiser. I don't ever want to reach a point where I think I've arrived, where I think I know it all, where I think that I'm the wisest person in the room. Absolutely not. Like if you feel like you're the wisest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You might be the wisest person in a room, but every room, that should not be the case. You should always have the yearning and the desire to grow and to keep learning and to better exercise wisdom and to just gain wisdom. And that starts with the knowledge of the Lord, the knowledge of His Word, and surrounding yourself with other believers who are in the knowledge of the Lord and in the knowledge of His Word. And that's where true wisdom and knowledge starts. So let's do that. Let's be committed learners. Let's be committed to living wise lives. So yeah, I want to encourage you with that today. I am encouraged by this today, and I will see you guys on the next episode.